let's get to better late than never. We're gonna get to our college football power poll, where we rank power ranks of the 12 FBS teams in the state. And I need to clarify again that this is relative to their conference. So if you are going to win Conference USA, you are going to be better than if you're going to finish in the middle of the Big 12.
True.
Because that's how this works. We're
Right.
not saying that UTSA would beat Texas Tech. They might.
They might. Right.
But what we are saying is that UTSA is probably closer to winning their conference than Texas Tech is.
Right.
Our humble opinion. Let's start with number 12, Max. Probably a place they're going to stay for the rest of the year, the UTEP Miners. We mentioned about how Sean Kugler's departure. It really seemed like it was fait accompli. It was going to happen, especially after the loss to New Mexico State. Now the Miners, with Mike Price, for some reason, they're going to play out the string. Maybe
Right.
pull out a victory or two, and then look forward. We mentioned it yesterday about that we think that this program needs to go in a different direction, just scheme wise, and maybe a different direction as far as like what exactly they're looking for in recruits.
Yeah.
But UTEP is in a bad way. There's no two ways around it.
Yeah.
They're a program in a very bad way, and whoever takes over that job is going to have a pretty major rebuild to do. So, UTEP's number 12. Number 11, the Texas State Bobcats. The thing about Texas State for me, it seems like it's same song, different verse every week, right? It's a decent defensive effort
Yeah.
that just gets ruined because they
Right.
can't find any offensive consistency. And it's going to be like that every single week until something changes offensively.
It's going to be that way for a while. I mean, this is a rebuild. Bottom line, the offensive pieces are young.
They're young, and the offensive line is not very good. They have to stack up offensive linemen if they're going to improve. Look, Texas State, they won 2 games last year. Right now they have 1 win. And you look up and down the roster, there's a couple of games that I think are winnable.
Yeah.
Maybe they get to 3 wins, but this team just isn't very good right now, and
I could see another 2 win before next year things get a little bit better.
Yes, they've got a great front seven, and that's about it basically. Yeah. So that's where Texas State is. They're number 11 in the power poll. Number 10, Rice. So Rice seems like Rice has made the move to Jackson Tyner.
Yeah.
And the offense is better with him, but he's also pick prone.
Yeah.
He's turnover prone.
Yeah.
But the bigger issue for me, for Rice, there's 2. One, they have no running game, which has always been a staple of a good David Bailiff coach team, is that they have a good running game. They don't have that this year. Part of that's the offensive line's not very good. The other part is that their secondary is really bad for a 3rd straight year. I mean, it's really bad. The last time they were good is when they won 10 games and then won the conference, right? It was that's the last time their secondary was good. So it's problematic. And so, look, I mean, you look up and down their schedule, I'm just not sure where these wins are going to come from.
Yeah.
And they're kind of in a similar position where I don't see them moving a whole lot farther up than 10. Number 9, down a spot, Baylor.
Talk about your bottom 4. I don't think these bottom 4 change in order probably the rest of the year.
I will say that if one team is going to get out of the cellar, it's Baylor.
I just don't see who ahead of them is going to fall, though. That's the problem.
They are slowly approaching competitiveness.
Right.
We have seen them improve week by week.
Yeah.
The problem is their competition is only going to get better.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they still got to play Oklahoma State. They still got to play Tech.
Kansas is coming, though.
They still got to play they still got to play Oklahoma. Did I say Oklahoma State?
Yeah.
Still got to play them. They still got to play Texas. I mean, there are a lot of teams, and the bottom line is their running game stinks. Their running defense stinks, and they're so reliant on Zach Smith hitting a big play. And when you don't have a guy like Chris Platt, I mean, look, Denzel Mims has really stepped up, and I'm impressed by him. But ultimately, look, this is probably a 2-3 win team at most.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem, and the build is going to be slow for Baylor.
But honestly, 2 or 3 wins at this point seems good compared to where we were like 2.5 weeks ago.
That would mean that because they're 0-5 right now. That would mean that they went 2 and they would go 2-5 the rest of the year.
Right.
Which I think Baylor fans would take. At this point, I think they just take a win. And Kansas is on the board. I think Iowa State maybe. It's at home though. That's the thing.
I think Iowa State's gonna have to have more injuries at that point. They're
I
just
think so,
playing.
too.
They're playing pretty well. I mean, not great, but they're tough to beat.
Number 8, the North Texas Mean Green. Shame on me. Shame on me for doubting the Mean Green.
That's true. Yeah,
They go to Southern Miss. By the way, just their second road conference win since 2013.
Yeah.
They go to Ole Miss, and they bring home a victory. And suddenly, you look at their schedule, and it's real easy to see 6 wins, 7 wins, 8 wins if you can dream on it. Like, that was a game that you kind of have marked down at a loss, and you go, okay, they're going to have to find another win here. Now, 6 seems very much in reach.
Yeah.
Mason Fines really impressed me. Jeffrey Wilson continues to have a real breakout year.
They're paving some roads for him, and he's making the most of them.
Great.
Yeah.
And the defense is not amazing, and I don't think it's going to be amazing at any point this year. But you know what? It's good enough.
Yeah, and like you said, the other sort of thing that not a lot of people are talking about unless you watch them a lot, unless you're us, Jalen Guyton might be the best receiver in that conference.
You know, it's funny. They're in a lot of respects, they're like a poor man's Texas Tech this year.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, the offense is pretty darn good.
Right.
And the defense isn't great, but it does enough.
Well, you know, and last year the defense wasn't great, but it seemed to make plays.
Yeah.
You know, they seemed to find ways to win games they shouldn't because the defense made big plays, got some turnovers. So it's in their DNA.
Yeah, it is. Number 7, SMU. They got a bit of a third quarter scare from Connecticut, but then what's fun about this team is that you can see them hit the Jets.
Yeah.
Like, it is really clear. It's like, okay, we're going to take over the game now.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton's great. Trey Quinn's been just a revelation for them. He's been so that, like, we knew they were going to have the star receiver, right, in Cortland Sutton, but we knew they needed somebody else to step up, and it's been Trey Quinn.
He's an incredible security blanket for Ben Hicks.
He's been great.
Awesome.
He's been great. Kamon Freeman has been great. In a similar vein, like, the defense is not amazing. It's fine. It's not amazing, but I mean, it shouldn't matter, and they should be able to get to 6-7 wins.
And we've got SMU Houston.
Very excited about that. Number 6, Texas. Look, they went on the road, and they beat a good, an improving Iowa State team in a hostile environment. And the defense, again, if you throw out the opener against Maryland, their defense has been excellent.
Yeah.
3 straight games.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Now they're going to need to be excellent again. But look, the offense needs to pick it up. They need to find some sort of offensive consistency. I think losing Connor Williams is really hurting them right now. But the defense is keeping them in games, and that should be enough for us for what we would deem a successful first season for Tom Herman. Number 5, Texas Tech. They had their shots, right? They had their shots to get that big signature win of the Cliff Kingsbury era. They couldn't get it, but I still think the arrow's pointing up.
Yeah.
I still think this is I made the point at TexasFootball.com that they gave up about the same number of yards that they gave up to Oklahoma State last year, but they did it on like 16 more plays,
right,
which means they're making them work for it a little bit more, which is all you need. Last year, if the offense had played like it did last against Oklahoma State and was just kind of bobbing along, wasn't amazing, they get blown out.
Yeah.
Their defense kept them in the game, and I think that's a decided step forward. And now they go to Kansas, and they should be able to win that game handily. So overall, look, it's not fun to lose, but I think that's fine. I think overall their results are fine. Number 4, Texas A&M. Look, the first half of almost every game this year has been terrible for Texas A&M. Terrible.
It's been really bad, yeah.
And the second half of almost every game this year has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad. They looked pretty good in the second half against South Carolina. If they don't play 4 great quarters, they will get murdered by Alabama.
Yeah.
Even if they do play 4 great quarters,
they're still probably going to lose handily.
They might get murdered by Alabama.
Yeah.
But overall, look, I think that overall, at the end of the day, they are 4-1. They're 2-0 in conference, and you go into this game with a dream against Alabama.
And every game that on paper they should win, they find a way to barely win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so far that's the whole season. I mean, it feels like a terrible football team, but then you look at the win-loss record, they do
4-1.
This is exactly what you'd expect from at this point in the season.
At some point, you are what your record says you are, and they are 4-1. In 3A. Number 3. Wow, it's
all right.
Disrespectful.
It's all right.
Number 3, UTSA. They get a week off, and now these 2 games I think are pivotal.
Yeah.
These 2 games are going to decide whether this is a good UTSA year
great.
or a great year.
Yep.
Because they get Southern Miss, comes to town, and then they go to Denton to play North Texas. If you split it, it's fine. It'll be a nice year then. If you get swept, okay, maybe you're not as good as we thought you were. You win both,
Woo, baby.
you start dreaming, because then
Yeah.
there's a lot of other games on there that are very winnable.
Yeah. And the nice thing about the first one, at least, is you've had 2 weeks to get ready for it.
Exactly.
You know?
So, coming home, I don't know. I think UTSA should be fired up. Number 2, Houston. Again, it's a kind of a thing where it's like, much like we were saying about A&M, you are what your record says you are, and Houston's 3-1.
Yep.
The offense isn't very good.
No.
I think it's going to catch up to him at some point.
Yep.
If Ed Oliver's out for any significant period of time, they say he's day-to-day with an MCL sprain.
I'll be super bummed if he doesn't play in the SMU game.
I will be too.
Super bummed. Yeah.
Look, here's the thing: is that they're going to need to score to beat SMU.
Yep.
As good as the Houston defense has been, SMU is going to get 28, maybe 35 points.
Yep.
Okay, they're going to do it. That's
Yep.
just what they do.
They're going to find a way.
They're going to find a way.
Yeah.
Houston's going to have to match that against a defense that's not very good, as we mentioned.
I mean, here's the thing. At this point with Houston, I don't even know if SMU might just need to get to 24.
Yeah.
If you told me today SMU's going to get at least 24 points, I'd probably say that's a 90% chance they're going to win, because that's how bad the Houston offense is.
It's just really sputtered, and they
Yeah.
need to find something. Maybe Kyle Postma is the answer.
Yeah. I
But
don't know.
they need to. I think maybe think about throwing De'Aaron King back there at quarterback.
Maybe.
That's just me.
If you're going to give them to him, I mean, like they did.
Yeah.
If you're just going to give him the ball on every play anyway.
Might as well just let them start
Yeah.
with it. And number 1, TCU. They had the off week. They're heading into another big game. Coming home, 2 weeks to prepare for West Virginia. I think they're going to win, and I think that they represent. I think they are pound for pound the best team in Texas right now.
Yeah. If they
And
lose this game, it would be a gigantic letdown.
It'll be a big letdown.
Gigantic.
Big letdown. But as we mentioned, they're 5-0 in college game day games. So should be a fun one in Fort Worth. So that is our college football power poll. Number 12, UTEP. Number 11, Texas State. Number 10, Rice. Number 9, Baylor. Number 8, North Texas. Number 7, SMU. Number 6, Texas. Number 5, Texas Tech. Number 4, Texas A&M. Number 3, UTSA. Number 2, Houston. Number 1, TCU.